In today's episode, don't want to let me train a replacement before I leave? Alrighty then. No cell phone use here. Don't want me to come off the till but still want me to go off the till to ring the buzzer? Okay. So let's get started. Don't want to let me train a replacement before I leave? Alrighty then. I used to work as the dedicated inventory guy for a tire and will store that dealt in only that big chain. All their guys wear black, not by choice, even on the most blistering of days. Nearly 10 years working there, and I was the only one handling their 5,000 to 7,500 tires, along with several hundred wheels, nuts, bolts, tire lube, replacement parts. Basically, I organized the entire store in terms of what was bought, sold, used. I received most shipments, whether a single tire by FedEx or our 2 times a week shipment of 400 to 800 units. Not something I knew for a long time, but my technical job was listed as a 3-person rotating task. I did it all myself. The manager I worked with for most of those 10 years was very happy and supportive of me, trying to make sure I was taken care of if I needed help. Unfortunately, the company underwent plenty of changes after the owner of the whole chain died. It shifted from a family thing to a profit and micromanagement thing. My great manager was stressed and went from great to not so great. I won't deny I got pretty upset with a few things from him, but it was just the situation didn't favor him. Ultimately, he was transferred to an administrative position to finish out till retirement, and we got a new manager and lots of extra salary salesmen. I was left on inventory, as everyone confirmed I was the only guy for the job that knew anything. They tried giving me newbies to learn the ropes, but I only got a couple days with them before they were pulled for more important things. Eventually, they gave up caring and figured I would do inventory for the foreseeable future. Well, the end of 2018 came with me looking for other opportunities. It wasn't entirely because of the shift at work, but doing a 3-person job after 10 years was starting to take its toll on my back. I started about 20 and was getting close to 30. I can't deny I was getting kinda scared I would do something irreparable to my back that would stick with me forever. They pulled equipment I needed to do better without straining myself more, made the process of pulling inventory more bureaucratic and lengthy without need for it, and would keep trying to limit my time doing things, but expect the same results. They also kept resisting my plans to reorganize stock, because brands don't always need the same amount of space. That major brand that did really well 3 years ago, and taking up 1,000 tires worth of space, only takes up 400 now. But hey, I have this brand that did an overhaul, and we used to carry barely 250 for them. Now, we are ordering hundreds of them weekly with a need for 750 units of space. So there's stock unable to fit in one place, but a huge gap in another I can fill. I'm sure some of you can understand you don't just start shoving items from the wrong brand into a gap, because there's space there. Use it. As I'm in the final weeks of my lovely tenure there, I've been training for the new job for about 6 weeks. They had plenty of warning to replace my position. I reminded them they should find someone I can give the rundown to before it's too late. My new management, as well as 2 salesmen I never liked, tell me in very businessy and polite terms, just do your job. And let us worry about it. I tried to be nice about it because while I don't get on well with the salesman, except one. He was always great, and I love my fellow service techs in the back getting dirty on every car, through the heat of summer, and getting our legs turned almost blue when working in the freezing snow and slush of the winter. I then realized that it really is their problem, not mine. Cue the malicious compliance. I found a lovely time when all 3 of my most concerning resistors were away. 2 were on meetings with corporate for 2-3 days. 1 was on vacation for the rest of the week. This was great as it was my last week as well. I hauled all kinds of A*s that week. I reorganized the whole place to my OCD specs. I wanted everything to fit. I wanted everything perfectly presentable. I did it my way and got everything in. To note, some years, especially in peak winter with lots coming in, we got so overstocked we couldn't fit everything all at once, which also was because of them not letting me deal with it efficiently. I took care of that overstock and fit it all in. Brands were moved and notes left. I let all my favorite coworkers who pulled my inventory the most know what's up. They adapted instantly because it's really not that hard. Just remember, the salt is in the pantry now, not next to the stove. I was commended on my effort and thanked for doing that before leaving. However, I knew what was coming. No. Not from the guys who didn't want my organization methods. By not replacing me, or at least covering what VE been doing for 10 years. Well, imagine it like giving someone a nice, clean and well-working car that they never maintain, because it was always taken care of. Yeah. I started my new job and got paid almost double. A couple months in and I start getting calls from former coworkers. Apparently, they never really tried to replace me at all. Things fell apart. Tires were shoved into the racks with no regard for where they belonged. If there was space, fill it. After 3 months, I heard 3 longtime employees walked out because the lack of organization was killing their bay times for dealing with cars, leading to a domino fall of stressful work environment stuff. It took an average of 15 minutes at our store to deal with most things on one car. However, I was told it was taking that long just to find the units needed after pulling the car in. Heck. Sometimes they gave up and tried to huff it to another nearby store to find their tires, thinking they had an inventory error. Obviously, that level of delay and inefficiency made the managers angry at those they blamed. Service techs usually got the heat. I wish I could say there was more juicy details about the aftermath. But at a certain point, all my ears in that store left. I feel like that's enough said in and of itself. One bit that came about the 4 or 5 month mark after I left though. One of the managers called me on my personal phone. They asked how I was doing and wondered if my new job was working out. I was very happy and energetically told them how great I felt in my new job. He inquired whether I might be interested in helping out at the store again. I declined. Now, I'm not the best at reading people, but this person seemed so lost in their tone that I can only guess they had so little luck in finding a replacement for what I did. I'm far more appreciated now in my new job. The thing that made me feel a little bad, but also goodish, is that my former coworkers agreed that when I left was when things started to get terrible. It probably didn't hurt that I was the insatiable goof of the store too who told so many bad puns. No cell phone use here. 2018 and I needed a job. As a stay-at-home parent, it was time to get back into the workforce after 3 years. As my background, I am a safety professional, and I've worked in automotive manufacturing. I put my resume in a few places, and called my old boss. He offered for me to return to work for him. Hindsight is 2020, and that should have been the position I chose. Instead, Q job offer from narcissistic power tripper former military man, which was had a significantly shorter commute. So many red flags in the interview, but I was desperate for job. First interview, first offer, and I took it. A few months after I started employment, and I become pregnant. Things start to change. Mind you, narcissistic boss, also vice president, is a micromanager. I have witnessed him harassing employees to the point they were in tears. Mainly women, but he especially picked on men who he deemed inferior as well. Then it happened, a fellow coworker started harassing me because I was pregnant. She said I wasn't doing my job, which I was. She would try to get me in trouble at every turn. And then she said it to another coworker. Just have another one and another one. Just shoot all the babies out of your vagina. With hand and body motions, hands to the side of the hips, and move them forward and up. This wasn't all she said, but the last straw for me. I took this to my boss, then it was taken up to the narcissistic vice president. Long story short, I was now a target due to the harassment, and she got a slap on the wrist because it was only hearsay and she was there longer than me. I was then written up for cell phone use because I was using my phone during my break. And I use my phone to document items that need corrected in the facility, among others. And let me tell you, that place was an OSHA violation haven. I had been using it the entirety of my employment, but once I made a complaint to HR, and for pregnancy discrimination, I was now the enemy. Fast forward to something I did not have much experience with. Although my area of expertise is safety and OSHA standards, I never dealt with OSHA directly unless it was an annual report and such. The other places I worked at were generally safe and no major injuries. An employee had a fingertip amputation, and you must report immediately to OSHA. I filled out the report and narcissist boss man was standing behind me at every step of the way. And was micromanaging me and criticizing every move I made. And I had a doctor's appointment that day as I was 34 weeks pregnant, and I also managing gestational diabetes as well. I was stressed out. I left that day and went to my appointment. I had a breakdown and my doctor said I shouldn't return due to my health. I had several phone calls and text messages from my narcissistic boss. And they needed information for records and such. I found it ironic as I wasn't allowed to use my personal device, and they wanted me to use it to help them. I guess the part where I was maliciously complying was when they told me no cell phone use, and I didn't answer my phone anymore for them. And the best part is, they couldn't get new business, so they are closing this spring, not related to the pandemic. Sad for the people that lost their jobs, but they are better off not working for the egomaniacal piece of trash. Don't want me to come off the till but still want me to go off the till to ring the buzzer? Okay. So I was working at my current job when I remembered an event that happened at my previous job. I worked in a hardware store whose name I'm going to call Trilco's. Every till had a buzzer which you can press to get another colleague to help you, and I was constantly put on a till that had a broken buzzer, and whenever the shop got busy I had to get off my till and walk to another to press the buzzer. We also had PMR radios, but it was only given to the supervisor and the shop floor workers. Most of the time the supervisor was doing his or her thing away from the front of the store where I was located. This will be important, and found it extremely annoying that I couldn't have one. So a few weeks go by of me constantly having to come off the till to ring the buzzer. When I got pulled into the manager's office, and was asked why I was constantly walking around, I told her the reasons why and didn't believe me, so I was told under no circumstances to come off my till, unless it was for first aid or break. Cue the malicious compliance. The next day the store was getting extremely busy, and as usual the supervisor was nowhere to be seen, and I was once again put on the till with a broken buzzer. I had many customers ask me to call someone down, to which I replied I wish I could, but they gave me the till with a broken buzzer, and I'm not allowed to get off my till per my manager's request. On a few occasions I was spat at, verbally abused, etc. I mean, what can I do, right? So a few weeks go by and countless times I had to give out head office's number. It got to the point I memorized the number. I get pulled in again for the numerous reports and complaints against me and listed some. This colleague gave some poor excuse and refused to get anyone else down on tills. This person was extremely lazy, didn't call anyone down even though they noticed the line was long, etc., etc. Conversation went as followed. It won't be word for word, but it'd be near enough. Manager, from the complaints we had, could you explain why you think you got them? Me, it's because I didn't ring the buzzer to get someone down on tills. Manager, and what's the reasoning behind you not ringing the buzzer? Me, because the buzzer on the till was broken, and according to some of the colleagues it has been broken for months. Manager, so why didn't you go to another till and use that buzzer? Me, I was told by you specifically under no circumstances to come off my till. Manager, so why didn't you call for the supervisor? You do realize they have a radio, yes? Me, because, 1, the supervisor was not down my end of the store most of the time, and I'm not going to yell for him/her, and 2. You know, if I had a PMR radio we would not have this problem, right? Manager, if the shop is getting busy you are supposed to call for someone. Me, again, as I pointed out, I had a broken buzzer, did not have a PMR radio, and the supervisor was not to scene. Manager, who seemed to be agitated, that's all, get out. A few months later I got fired because I broke a few of their policies, and was accused of stealing money from the tills despite no evidence of it happening. I'm loving my current job, because we get paid just above the UK's minimum wage. The previous job paid £8.20 and still do. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.